Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Favorite Album of the Year. Happy Monday morning, or maybe not so happy Monday morning, to those of you who just hate the weekend ending and the work week beginning. I think we can all fall into that kind of category, right? Unless you're someone who works all weekend and has parts of the week off. Very cool if you do. Happy Monday to you. 2000. We have arrived in the 2000s. Y2K. For those of you who are old enough to remember, I know we do have some young folks who watch the show here who were probably not alive in the year 2000, but for those of you who remember, do you recall like all the craziness leading up to the year 2000, leading up to New Year's Eve, 1999 going into 2000, how everybody's like, oh my God, the apocalypse is coming, the internet's going to break, it's going to be mass chaos, blah, 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 all the Y2K conspiracy folks and all that kind of stuff going on. It was going to be madness, all these people predicting all sorts of crazy stuff. And then, you know what? 12 o'clock, midnight happens, bloop, nothing happens, right? You have another drink, you continue celebrating your New Year's Eve, and the world continued on, and music continued on. That's the important thing. So, year 2000, another pretty solid year for music. For me, pretty strong year for a lot of prog rock bands who had been kind of, the 90s was a resurgence of progressive rock around the world. A lot of bands kind of popping up and becoming, big names within the prog genre. Maybe not, big selling artist worldwide to the masses, but to those who listen to the genre, a lot of bands kind of coming up, pumping out solid releases throughout the 90s going into the 2000s. You had some really good extreme metal coming out in the year 2000, so pretty solid year all around. I had a really difficult choice with this because I had a handful that I kind of like all equally, and there was not one clear front runner. This is like the first time in a while that I haven't had a clear front runner, and literally up until when I press record here, I really wasn't sure which one I was going to go with, but I said, you know what, I can't kind of debate this within myself anymore. I just need to go and do it. So I picked one, and I'm pretty happy with my choice because I dig this album a lot. It's one of my favorites from this band, among a lot of favorites, and my runner-up also is very solid. I pulled a couple others out here to show, and I'll talk about a few others anyway. But let's get to my favorite of the year. So this one was released August 22nd of 2000. A summertime release, produced by the band, released on Metal Blade / Radiant Records. I'm talking about the fifth album called 5 or V by Spock's Beard. I have always been a big fan of this album. When it came out, I was really into it. I loved all their previous albums. I've loved pretty much all of their ones after it, and I just think this is, an hour's worth of really good modern-day progressive rock with tons of hooks and, rock firepower, but, explosive keyboards, great vocals from Neil Morrison, keyboards from Neil and Ryo Okamoto, and just the whole band is just really firing on all cylinders here. And I love the kind of mix of like the longer prog epics and the short, more popular fare. So it starts off with At the End of the Day, which is really catchy, got a lot of pop hooks, great prog keyboards and guitar work, but it's like, of course, nearly 17 minutes long, but it does not lose you at all. Okay, and then you got the shorter Revelation, you got Thoughts Part 2, which is their great kind of tribute to Gentle Giant, lots of cool vocal, contrapuntal interplay and a cappella stuff going on there. Very quirky, very cool. Then the lovely All on a Sunday. Okay. Good tune. Like I said, really good melody, great instrumentation. Excellent song. But it rocks too, right? It's kind of one of those, Spock's Beer always good at doing those songs that had, lots of energy, but were really, really pleasing on the ears. Same thing with Goodbye to Yesterday. Very tender song. Very cool. Neil Morse can write a great hook. Whether it's, a more upbeat, furious, proggy track or something a little more on the ballady pop end, you can do it all. And then, of course, to finish it all off, The Great Nothing. 27 minutes and change, it's 5-6 parts to it. I will say, I've talked many times last year, a couple of years, about how, especially a lot of the more modern prog bands, doing these like 20-minute long, 25, 30-minute long tracks, hour, 45-minute long songs. So, and how in later years I've kind of like I've grown a little fatigued with that stuff. But I will say Spock's Beard, whenever they do the long tracks, I pretty much dig them. This band has always had a way to kind of keep me hooked in most of the time, which I love. I dig the production on this album. I don't know. I like it. It's just a very, very fun, easy listening album. That's like it's easy to listen to, but it's very challenging musically as well. So I dig that a lot. That's my favorite of the year. Coming really close, my runner-up. I almost went with this one. It's these two that I was really kind of stuck on. I have two others that were also in the mix, but this was a great comeback by this band. So their iconic lead singer had left them for a few years. They brought another singer in for a couple albums, which, for most people didn't really work. Not that those albums are terrible, but just not a good fit with that vocalist. Their main guy came back after he put out a couple of sensational solo albums on his own, came back to front the band once again. He's still there today, talking about Brave New World by Iron Maiden. Very strong return to form, I thought. I listened to this a ton when it came out. I saw them on this tour. They were red hot. A lot of really great tunes on here. A lot of longtime Maiden favorites of mine. The Wicker Man, Ghost of the Navigator, the title track, Blood Brothers. What else? The Nomad, Out of the Silent Planet. Just a very, very strong album. Perhaps my favorite of the kind of reunion albums since Bruce came back in 2000. So they've released a whole bunch of albums in the last 20 years. And I like them all a lot. I still think I kind of always go back to this one as perhaps my favorite. If it's not my favorite, it's my number 2. But dig it. Dig it a lot. So there you have it. Spock's Beard, V or 5, however you want to call it. Followed by Brave New World by Iron Maiden. I do want to mention the other two that were in the running. Okay, I'm going to show them off here. The debut album from Transatlantic, SMPTE. Okay. Really good album. As hot as this debut is, this, of course, is a supergroup featuring Roy Stahl from the Flower Kings, Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater, Neil Morse from Spock's Beard, and Pete Pardo from Marillion. I think they would continue to get even better in follow-up releases. So you might be hearing more Transatlantic coming up in the years that'll be coming over the next couple of weeks. The other one, Lightbulb Sun by Porcupine Tree. Also, very strong album. And again, I think they have stronger ones, but this is a very good album. I enjoyed this quite a bit when it came out. I do want to mention a couple of others. Borknagar Quintessence. That's actually the first album I ever got into by the band. Norwegian symphonic atmospheric black metal band. That is a really proggy album. A lot of great keyboards on that. Fantastic, fantastic release. One of my favorites from the band. Also Nile, Black Seeds of Vengeance. Terrific stuff, terrific stuff. Other ones that were pretty notable that year: King Crimson, The Construction of Light, IQ, The Seventh House, Flower King, Space Revolver, Kansas, Somewhere to Elsewhere, Symphony X, V, The New Mythology Suite, Pain of Salvation, The Perfect Element, Glass Hammer, Chronometry, White Willow, Sacrament, Arena, Immortal, Ekelund, Cowboy Poems Free, Planet X Universe, Alice Cooper, Brutal Planet, Camelot, The Fourth Legacy, Dark Tranquility, Haven, Morbid Angel, Gateways to Annihilation, Steely Dan, Two Against Nature, Ian Anderson, The Secret Language of Birds, Armored Saint, Revelation, Motorhead, We Are Motorhead, and UFO Covenant. Those were some of the other ones that were pretty notable for me. But again, came down to those two. So we got Spock's Beard and Iron Maiden ruling the roost here for 2000. You know how it goes, guys. List your favorite or favorites in the comments below. Remember, there's no right or wrong answer. We all love what we love. We all have our favorites and hear these albums differently. So it's always cool to see what everybody else comes up with. And visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. Coming up on the programming tonight, we had to postpone it for a day, but Jack Toledano and I are getting together tonight to give you our top 10 songs from U.S. heavy metal legends Manowar. That's coming up tonight, either tomorrow or Wednesday. I've got ranking the albums of San Francisco psychedelic rock veterans Jefferson Airplane. That is coming up over the next couple days. We got 2001 tomorrow, 2002 Wednesday. We're going to continue on till we get up to 2019, and then we'll move on to the next phase of things. That's probably when we're going to start our deep cut dive series, right? So once we get through the favorite albums of the year, we're going to move into that. So, and I got some new product stuff to talk about, because I've gotten some new things in here. Do want to get caught up on those too. So a lot of stuff happening, man. A lot of stuff happening. And this coming week, next week, we've got still working out all the fine details, but I got another very, very special guest who's coming on the show. I'm glad you guys have enjoyed the interviews with Andy Powell from Wishbone Ash and Derek Schulman from Gentle Giant. I want to thank both of those guys for coming on. Terrific shows. A lot of fun for me. It's always great to talk to your musical heroes and, get all sorts of cool tidbits from their lives and careers and whatnot. So that was very fun. I got another one coming up for you that I think you guys are going to love. So stay tuned for that. So I will see you guys later on, all right? Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.